Office politics, it has the ability to send the fear of God into any manager. You know, those unwritten rules, power plays, and dynamics that are going on, and you're trying to work out how to navigate them, how to be the influential leader that you want to be. But it can be scary, can't it? In this video, I'm going to explain why it's so important for you as a manager and a leader to take a proactive approach to office politics. And I'm going to share 4 steps that I think make all the difference to your influence and confidence. So first off, what do I mean by office politics? Often the negative connotations to office politics that people talk about when they talk about it. It's the intricate dynamics between power, people and relationships, and then people's response to it. When you search on YouTube, so much of it is about toxic workplaces and toxic people. And I think there is some of that. By far, the majority of people at work want to get on well with other people and they want to do a good job. However, the thing that kind of comes in and blows that up is often miscommunication, misinformation, and a lack of alignment between either individuals or functions. And if you want to be an influential leader, you have to have a proactive approach to working with other people and navigating this world of work wherever you may be. I want you to think of influence, of being an influential leader. And in order to do that, step 1 of navigating office politics like a diplomat is about mindset. And it is that you need to know who has the power, and especially if it's you. Many organizations default into a hierarchy, and because people in a more senior role have influence and a say over people below, that is power. And that can be scary for people because it's their careers in your hands and your career in someone above you's hands. And as a result, people automatically can be more guarded, not necessarily tell the truth. And your job as a leader is to be intentional in the development of the culture around you. So office politics in a negative connotation is a toxic, gossiping, rumour mongering, little fiefdoms all over kind of world. But office politics in a positive sense is a collaborative, open, proactive and energetic workplace. So I think it's important to see office politics can be either or. It isn't always the negative. The key is that you as a manager know how to navigate the wider workplace and you know what to do within your team to create that optimum culture and environment. So this first step of knowing who's got the power and recognizing it's you is very much about knowing what you can control and what you can't. And your control can go in 2 different directions. Obviously, within your team, you can use your influence to build a culture which is positive and helps everybody navigate the complexities of the workplace. But also you can be proactive in working with other functions. Particularly, I would pay attention to your cross-functional colleagues because so much friction exists when we get out of that hierarchy where everybody thinks they can control this, and then work goes like this, flowing through different functions, and there are the lack of alignment of goals and priorities. People don't know each other as well, so as a consequence they don't always communicate as effectively as they could do, and it is easy to fall into a blame or a gossip or a rumour mill and put up a wall between you and everybody else. As a leader, you're going to lower these walls between everybody else. Okay, so first off, know who's got the power and know when it's you and recognise you can be proactive and do things to influence that environment. Second, you need a proactive approach to managing your stakeholders. And I want you to think of a network. Much of stakeholder management often is at the last moment and when there's an issue. Actually, the successful leaders are the ones who proactively manage their stakeholders and build relationships, because The more you build relationships with people, you grow trust between you and them, and you build understanding between you and them. Knowing who your stakeholders are, what it is you have to influence them on, or what is the relationship you want to build with them, and when are you going to do it, when you need to do it by, is so important. And I think it's often instinctive, and it needs to be a plan. It needs to be written down so that you are always thinking about these relationships which are important to nurture, especially if they're more senior people, cross-functional colleagues, or indeed people within your broader team who you don't know well. The more you are known and the more people know you, the more they will come to you for advice, the more it will be easy to offer feedback. But it's hard if you are not building those relationships up to go and have the first serious conversation on a big topic. Hence, people often stay quiet. It's much easier if you've been building those relationships over time. So if you want to navigate the office politics like a diplomat, you need a proactive approach to managing your stakeholders and building relationships around you. Step 3 is about improving your communication impact, in particular, using questions to understand other people's points of view. This is what I see happens a lot, and people tell me they go to talk to someone and they go in with their view. They have already thought through a plan, they're sharing their plan, and they spend little or no time starting the conversation off by saying, I'd like to understand what you think about this first. The more you ask questions to understand other people's points of the view, the more influential you will be. Because what you're doing is a game where you are finding out the common ground. You're finding out the issues. And that allows you to adjust what you are going to say so it will have maximum impact. And it will make sure you truly understand the situation. So as I said, I see a lot of the more negative parts of office politics are tied up with a lack of alignment, your goals aren't aligned, that there is miscommunication and misinformation. So the more you can remove that and get clear and see where you're aligned and where you're not and what the issues are at play, the easier it is for you to influence the direction of travel. And the easier it is for you to work with other people to solve the problems and the barriers that may be in your way. So work on this skill set. In so many workshops, I see the same thing day in, day out. And that is managers ask less questions than they think they do. And the questions they ask are very guided. They guide the conversation to where they think it wants to go. And they are less strong at just being comfortable in the ambiguity and just finding out. It's a really important skill set. If this is something that you think you could do more of, this video here that I've already made on communication skills can help you understand the skill sets that go with being able to do that with confidence. So I'd check that out. That brings us to step 4. And step 4 is you need to be intentional in creating a positive and collaborative culture in your team. It doesn't just happen. It happens as the result of strategies and approaches that leaders put in place so that they get to know people, that people feel comfortable speaking up, that they are comfortable with challenge, they ask for feedback, and you need to be intentional in doing this. Now, this is such a vitally important thing to do as a leader. In doing this, you're going to create a place where your team like working with you, like working in their team. You're going to be more able to address the challenges. So first off, going back to what you can control and what you can't control, describing the culture that you would like in your team and describing that positive environment where you help each other, that people can make mistakes, that you don't gossip, you don't depend on rumor, makes a very positive impact. If you do have gossip and rumor going on in your team, it's like everybody's building little walls around themselves into their silo. because it's like we don't want to listen and we don't want to understand other people's points of view. So you're going to help your team remove any of that by, first, you never do it. You role model not gossiping and being part of the rumor mill. But secondly, you encourage your team not to participate in those behaviours by describing the kind of behaviours that you want. It is so important. A couple of things can make a really big difference here. One is to proactively think of team building activities. So a team lunch when you're all in the office, celebrating birthdays, using team meetings so that people get to know each other better. So thinking of activities that help build the nature of the team and the culture that you want. Engaging your team in the culture that they would like can also be a big step forward here. The second thing to do is to think of where you think your team may not know or understand another person or function. How can you build bridges? So in particularly cross-functionally, it can work well that you invite someone in to come and talk about what their goals are, what their challenges are, and that explain the other function's agenda, because what you'll then see is much more where you don't fit together and where you do. And this can help your team navigate where you're dependent on each other's work capacity, helping each other, but your goals aren't necessarily aligned. Really, you can help create a much more positive environment on the back of that. Now, you might have got to this point and gone, Helen, I know all this, and this is a very important point. What is common sense is not necessarily common practice. So if you think of these 4 steps, you have to face into what do you do well and what do you not do so well. So how proactive is your mindset to collaboration with other functions? How well do you connect with your stakeholders and build strong relationships outside your immediate team? How well do you communicate and understand other people's needs? And are you putting intentional activities in place that help your team know each other better and perhaps help other teams know your team better? That can make all the difference. And there's one differentiator I see in leaders who do this well, and that is they have a system to the way in which they work that they come to on the quarter and each month and then each week. And it is all about looking at both who do I need to speak to, who is my network, who do I need to connect with in the coming quarter, month, week, and then paying attention to and being proactive with those moments where you see friction, where negative office politics could really bubble up, and being proactive and thinking, what can we do to improve it? And then putting steps in place to minimize them. So think about that in going forward. As a reminder, the video, I'm connecting it here about communication skills. This is where I'd go next if you want to improve that skill set. Please like, subscribe and ring the bell if you found this useful. You'll get notified of each and every video I release, and it helps other managers like you find this channel. Okay, that's it for this week. Until next, take care.